Uncorrupt says, you take a shot at the king, you best not miss. Developers have actually taken 2 shots at my boy Shockspitter. They've missed. Shockspitter Hunter now once again ready to fight the meta. And I'll tell you, the more I play this deck, the better my rank gets to. Sitting in top 400, expecting to climb more with the deck. 69% win rate, 36 games here. I'm going to keep the hero card. And the mulligan, we're always going to keep the hero. We're also going to want to keep cheap weapons, Candleshot and Bloodseeker, as well as the Wild Spirit stuff. And, unfortunately, our hand here really not good, and what could potentially be a tough matchup here as well. We have nothing on turn 2 but to be able to trade this Dog Biscuit, look for something to do. And typically we need to be able to get damage in early against our Demon Hunter opponent. We know the Demon Hunter is going to have... That'll help out. So I equip the weapon here and swing. We just want to start buffing the Shockspitter damage, rather than play the Trog that likely dies to some kind of a spell anyway and does nothing. Got to keep in mind here with the Demon Hunter as well that on turn 6, Unleash Fel is going to be able to heal them for a significant amount. We want to be careful when it comes to that. So at some point, we're just not going to want to continue to play minions on the board, but at this point of the game, we're just going to spend mana, get some minions on the board. We'll see what our opponent does here. If they potentially go for like the Relic of Phantasms here, I'm actually going to overwrite my weapon and consider swinging into the 2/2. They're going to coin it out so that the minions are even bigger. They are. So this is pretty unfortunate here for us at this point, that this has been able to happen. This is a lot of pressure. Potentially the Tavish can save us from this pressure that's going to be on the board, but we're still 2 turns away from being able to play it. So this turn, we can just go Stormpike Battle Ram. I'm going to punch face, of course, and then next turn I'm going to have these 2 guys. And I think I just want to remove the most damage on the board. I don't want to try to take some kind of a value trade, so we'll make the play like this. Potentially, if we top deck a Hydrolodon, I would just go ahead and play it. Since our opponent was on the coin, you can see that they're not going to be at 6 mana yet. Sometimes Hydrolodon can be a game-winning play in the Demon Hunter matchup. But outside of that, we're really just taking a lot of damage here, which is bad against this deck. Trinket Tracker is something I've been including in the deck recently just because it guarantees that you can hit Tracking. Tracking the only 1-cost spell in the deck, which can potentially save us from some stuff. So I'm going to Wild Spirits and hope that we get the 3/1 Rusher to be able to trade into this guy. We actually don't, which is really bad for us here. I'm just going to take the weapon and hit face. I'm not going to trade into a 2/2 with the weapon. Face damage is valuable, and in addition to that, next turn our plan is going to be to play the Beast Stalker Tavish. That's actually if we're still alive here, and we may not be just based on the way this game is going. And you can see here we're just taking a ton of damage off of our opponent. So we do have the hero card. We're going to be totally dependent on that card saving us at this point. And we'll have another weapon next turn. So we're just going to jam it as fast as we can, put our faith in the hero. We really need an explosive trap here. We do hit the explosive trap, and then in addition to that, unfortunately what I really wanted was motion denied. I wanted to take explosive trap first because that was the most important thing. It's what's going to keep us alive here. Because we don't have the motion denied, it's going to be a zombies. And then again, I'm just swinging face, and then we'll pass it back to our opponent. So you can see here, we do have a brand. We have a discount on a Shockspitter, but we need to actually draw a Shockspitter here to be able to take advantage of that. So if we draw a Shockspitter, maybe we could play it and then get it back with Devouring Swarm, and then the following turn brand Shockspitter again to be able to find lethal. Good thing about the zombies being in play, if our opponent does choose to play a minion, like a spell power minion, the zombies is going to clear that up. Our opponent's also likely thinking that they may potentially need to play around the motion denied. They might be concerned about taking that damage. They have no idea what our hand is. And so they may not want to take that 9 damage because like brand Shockspitter plus the 9 would kill the opponent. So here, the zombies is going to be really good against the Lady Sethino. We get that off the board, and it leaves us with a couple of 2/2s in play here, so pretty strong for us. This also lets us know that our opponent does not have the Relic of Dimensions. Hoping the 2/2s survive, but if they don't, it could be okay here. And opponent actually getting a little bit low on cards. So they're kind of going to be in a position where they're going to really need to top deck the Relic of Dimensions. And we'll take a look at how much damage we have here. We have 3. And I think that's actually just lethal with Bran. So Bran, this is 12. That's actually going to be 14. So we are killing our opponent here. Pretty nice top deck. We also would have had the option to play the Trinket Tracker. Trinket Tracker would have given us the ability to draw possibly a tracking, and we could have trackinged into a Shockspitter here. So it was a favorable top deck, but not necessarily what caused us to win this game. Back for another game. Looks like we're actually going to be up against Priest here, assuming that's going to be Shadow Priest. Mulligan stays the same no matter what. We're not keeping Shockspitter or Dog Biscuit. I do like keeping the Bloodseeker though. Hopefully we find something to maybe do on turn 1. And we found a Trinket Tracker, so again, I really like this card. It's going to get the tracking in our hand. If it feels like we absolutely have to find something, then we'll have a tracking to be able to get to it. Outside of that, we're likely just going to be curving out with Bloodseeker into Wild Spirits. And we actually see the Void Touched Attendant come down here. And so I want to go ahead and get this off the board. So I'm going to bump into it, equip the Bloodseeker, and then punch it. And then that's actually going to buff our weapon here. So we know we're going to have some decent weapon charges. If our opponent coins out like a 3-drop, again, maybe we just trade into it. It buffs the weapon, gives us an additional charge again. You can see here that they actually don't have anything. And now we have the Beast Stalker Tavish in hand. And definitely just going to go ahead and swing the weapon here. Also, since we have the Stag, we know that that's going to be another weapon that's going to be coming down. We see the Undying Allies and the Haunting Nightmare. So here, I'm going to have the option if I wanted to swing into this. I don't have to, simply because we're going to be getting the weapon next turn anyway. And at this point, I think I want to try to focus on face damage. Also, keep it in mind, with these Shadow Priests, if our opponent actually has High Cultist Basilif, if we take a trade and remove both of these, then they could play the Basilif and get it back. Could be really bad if they get back 2 copies, so we're going to ignore this. And I think we actually just swing first, and then we're going to play the Wild Spirits and the Trog as well. So we're going to send all damage face here. Go ahead and play the Wild Spirits. I wanted to swing first because this is actually hatching this turn. And you can see we're going to have no shortage of weapons. And again, I just don't want to trade into this guy. And I'm going to pass turn. So potentially they can trade and then coin out the Shadow Word Undeath, which is going to clear our board. But we can't necessarily play around it. So we're just going to go ahead and play into it. And it should be fine. The only thing that we would hope is that if they do have Shadow Word Undeath and they're going to coin it out, that it didn't actually land on the Shadow Word Undeath. Speaking of this Death Rattle, it looks like they don't have it. So that's going to be good for us. We're just going to keep pushing face. We're going to have Bran on 6, and things are looking pretty good this particular game. That's a good play for them to be able to clear up our board and not take that damage. And then at this point, we're going to go ahead and make use of the tracking that we've had in our hand here. So you see how strong it is to be able to have tracking and try to find, basically just trying to find something to do here. And I'm just going to go ahead and take the Selective Breeder. We're going to get this guy down. I want to take a Shockspitter. We've been attacking a lot. It's going to be good damage for us at some point. And then I am swinging face. And then I'm just going to go ahead and Hero Power. We've got our opponent down to 16. Again, next turn we're going to play the Hero card. And then on turn 7, we're going to be able to have a Bran Shockspitter that's going to be able to end the game. We'll be able to swing next turn. This is actually going to refresh our weapon to 2 charges. And you can see here that likely we're going to be wanting to look for the Explosive Trap off of the Bran here. If we actually miss on the Explosive Trap, we could potentially be losing this game. So Explosive Trap is definitely the priority. If we get that, we should be more than fine. Just count our damage really quickly. We have 4. This would go up to 6. That would be 10, 12. It's not going to be enough. It's not enough, so definitely the Hero card here. Again, we really need to hit Explosive Trap. Sometimes you can whiff on this. We actually hit it, so we're more than fine here. And then I think the other thing that we're going to take is going to be... There's really nothing that's going to kill us here. It's going to take the snake trap. I really feel like it doesn't matter what we do. Our opponent is not going to be able to kill us because of that explosive trap. And then next turn we just have lethal with Brand Shockspitter. So you can see here, we had a nice start here. No candle shots in either one of these games, but even just being able to get that weapon equipped on turn 2 and then able to swing every turn with the various weapons, whether they come from our deck or from the Wild Seed package, you just get tons of damage out of the Shockspitters. Even if they have a taunt here, if this is the version that plays Bone Caller, Brand Shockspitter goes over the top and kills him from 12. And we could actually get it to 14 by swinging our hero into the Bone Caller, so I'm expecting our opponent realizes that they probably lost. From their point of view, they should probably still test for Explosive Trap. And you can see we do get the snakes. Again, these are irrelevant in this particular game. But they're also going to take 3 damage off of the Explosive Trap. So I think they're realizing here that they're just dead no matter what they do. Again, if I'm in their position, the game is likely only going to go for one more turn anyway. So I'll probably stay in the game. You don't want to concede too early, but they really have no hope of being able to win from this position. They can't kill us and they're just dead. They do have the Bone Caller here, but again, because we have the Brand Shockspitter going over the top, it really just doesn't matter. I don't even have to swing the weapon. Shockspitter deals 12. And that's going to wrap up this game. Deck is insanely strong. The more I play the deck, the better my rank gets. I encourage you to check it out if you have the cards. If you don't, make sure you don't craft anything that's getting ready to rotate with the new set. Thank you for watching. I'm Uncorrupt. Good luck out on the ladder.